I have a couple things to get done around my house today, and I just thought I'd invite you to join me. I'm starting off with breakfast, and I have one of two things for breakfast every morning. This morning, I'm going to have a smoothie that I make with my homemade yogurt and frozen blueberries, a banana, and some almond milk. I just blend it all up with my immersion blender. Now, the other breakfast that I have every morning is very similar to this, and I'll show you that at the end of the video, so stick around till the very end. I'll include the recipe for this smoothie that I do. I've done this same smoothie for over 25 years. I love it. By the way, always wash your immersion blender right away. You do not want that stuff to dry on the immersion blender. I'm gonna make some really easy soap. This is this melt and pour goat's milk soap that I get. I'll link my supplies down below in the description in case you wanna make it. But I wanted to make some soap bars for myself and also as little gifts. It's so easy to make. You just chop it up into cubes, microwave it till it's melted. I mean, it takes a minute or 2 minutes to melt this amount, just no time at all. This is such an easy project to do. I don't add a lot to the soap. I'm going to add a little bit of fragrance, but I do like to add the oatmeal. And I take my immersion blender and I just kind of crush it up really fine until it's really chopped up. Now, these pieces were flying all over the place. I was trying to keep it under control with my hand, and eventually I put a cloth over top because I had little bits of oatmeal just flying all over the place. And I just use the immersion blender till it gets like a fine dust. After about a minute or so in the microwave, I checked on the soap. I stirred it around. There were still a couple of chunks that were not melted, so I put it back in for another 30 seconds just to get it completely melted. And then the fun part. So I have these silicone molds that are in the shape of like ovals. They come in squares and all sorts of things. And it's just super easy to make the soap this way. So I sprinkle in a little bit of the oatmeal dust, the little granules from the oatmeal, and then I added a little bit of fragrance. Now that's, however much fragrance you want to add. I just add a little bit. I don't like it overly fragranced. What's the word for that? So I melted some more soap so that I could fill up that other container, that other silicone mold, and I just melted all that I had. A little bit more of the scented. I think the one I'm using here is a rose scent. I also have some lavender, but I think I forgot to pull that one out this time. But I'll link a couple of those down below if you're interested in making this soap. This 2-pound bar that I bought from Amazon made about, what do we have there? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 bars of soap, and that's just enough. Now you also notice that I sprinkled some of that crushed oatmeal over top just to make it pretty. And you'll also see those bubbles. Now you can get rid of those if you just mist it with alcohol. So put alcohol in a misting bottle, spray over top, and those bubbles disappear. I don't mind the bubbles because I like a handmade look, so the bubbles don't bother me. I'm going to save the rest of that oatmeal because I make this soap often. My plants really need some help. These pothos have been planted in these little pots for about 2 years, and they are stuffed to the max with the roots. I know that they are root bound, so it's time to refresh these plants. I stepped out on my breezeway. You're going to see in the background that cart that we just made over, and I'll be talking about that video that we did a couple of weeks ago. I have some interesting comments that came from that and some thoughts. Anyway, I'm getting off target. I just bought some new pots. They were a little bit bigger than the ones that I had, and I thought that they would be big enough. Turns out they're not, so I had to hunt around my house for the next size up on pots, and fortunately I had some. So I just pulled all the pothos out, and once they were out of the pot, there's my little dog. He's always right into everything. Anyway, once I pulled those plants out, I loosened up the roots a whole lot, and some of them I even cut away the roots because they were really root bound. I put some more soil in the pot. Oh, I forgot to say that I cut that brown paper bag like in a little circle so that the dirt wouldn't fall through the hole in the bottom of that pot. You can also use a coffee filter at the bottom, and that works really well. Then you don't have to cut it. But anyway, you might have a better idea for preventing that dirt from coming through the hole. Let me know down in the comments how you do this whole process of repotting your houseplants. So anyway, I just pulled them out and got each one repotted in a larger pot. You'll see that here in a few minutes. All right, I grabbed those larger pots and I think they're going to work much better. So I had to cut more of that paper for the bottom of the pot. I just kind of rough guesstimated how big to make it. And definitely these plants are going to have much better lifespan in the larger pots. You're going to notice that once I get all the dirt in there, I add rocks on top of the plants. And what I find, the rocks help to hold down the soil every time you water these plants. There's been several times, like years ago, I wouldn't do this. And when I would go to water my plant, the dirt would just kind of bubble up and go all over the place, and it was just a mess. So somehow I got this idea to grab a handful of rocks from our driveway and just put it on top, and that just holds all the dirt down. So I hope you find that helpful. You might have a better way of doing this, so let me know down in the comments. I would also love to know if you know the name of these pothos. I have several, and some are just kind of the regular kind, and some are a little more special like this one here. But I don't remember all the names. I didn't save all the tags, unfortunately. So if you know the name of some of these pothos plants, please let me know down in the comments. Okay, I might get a little sentimental here. I just have some things that I want to share about some things that have been going on in my life and here on YouTube and in my personal life and also over on my blog. So if you don't know, I have a blog, reinventeddelaware.com. We share all sorts of tutorials, a lot that you see here on YouTube, but a lot more is over on my blog. So I'll go ahead and put a link to that down in the description. For now, I just wanted to share some encouragement with you because in my blogging world, I talk with a lot of bloggers, and many of us have been discouraged lately. So we've been trying to encourage one another that what we do matters. The tutorials that I share here with you on YouTube and over on my blog, that matters because it interests you, it helps you, I hope, and I hope that it teaches and inspires you to do the same sorts of projects. So I've been trying to encourage my blogging friends, and they've been trying to encourage me right back. I've also received a lot of encouragement here on YouTube. I have gotten some of the sweetest comments here lately, especially on this last video that we did of these makeovers. I'll link it down below, but it's this video right here. I'll show you the little thumbnail for it. But the comments that came in were just so sweet, and I wanted to share some of them with you. I won't be able to share them all, but here are just a couple. I had one lady write in, I'm new to repurposing, I'm 67 and partially disabled. I am bored, so I've been collecting things and I'm finally going to get started. I really admire that. She's not going to let these things hold her back. Instead, she's going to do something about it and she's going to get started on her repurposing journey. And I was just so thrilled that we were able to give even just a little bit of inspiration for that. On another video, actually it was a whole playlist on that chair upholstery that we did a couple of months ago, I had someone say that they felt like they could tackle the project because they watched me reupholster a chair. And golly, I'm going to tell you, that just made me feel so good to know that I was being helpful. And it's such an exciting thing that someone now is going to tackle a project just like that for their own home. As I read through the comments over the last week since we published that video, I was just so encouraged because so many people were chatting back and forth within the comments with each other, giving tips and helpful inspiration. And I just love that we're creating a community here where we can share and be inspired and encourage one another. Here's how my crazy mind thinks. While I was repotting those plants, I thought, what a good life lesson. Do we need to empty ourselves, freshen up the soil around us, just give ourselves some new life, fresh dirt, and just be able to grow and expand? No matter how root bound we might feel, we can always dig that up and make a change. Now, y'all also loved that little bird cage, and I barely did anything to it. I think I just brushed a little bit of white paint on it, and I couldn't decide what to do, and there were so many ideas. Let me share some of the ideas that y'all shared with me. One suggestion was to open the door on that little bird cage and either wire it open or completely take the door off, and then put a little pie plate that would fit just inside and put water in there and let birds use it as a little bath. I just thought that was the cutest thing. She also suggested to hang it by the kitchen window. Now, if you didn't want to do a bird bath, you could maybe do seed in there, and then you could watch the birds come and eat the seed right there by a kitchen window. That would be so cute. Someone else suggested that I add battery-powered lights to the inside of that cage and just hang it up as a little night light, like out on a front porch or something. I love that idea. Someone else said put a real plant in there like Creeping Jenny. And by the way, I have some Creeping Jenny in my yard. I should have filmed it, but I forgot. But put some Creeping Jenny in there, and the Creeping Jenny would just drape over the edges and kind of hang down. I love that. And listen, with the battery lights and the Creeping Jenny, oh my goodness, you're going to have to tell me which one of these ideas do you like the most. Let me know down in the comments. A lot of you really enjoyed the bloopers at the end of that video, and I just have to tell you that my garage door was open. The big door on the garage was wide open there in my workshop, and my neighbor had workmen in their yard, and they could see me. And there I am standing in my garage talking to a camera. Listen, it's just the craziest thing to do. And it just felt really awkward, and I was just trying to be silly about it, but yet get the job done. I mean, listen, tell me about a crazy thing that you do for your job. Another pretty popular topic from that video was that scoop. Now, a lot of people said that it came from home interiors from, back in the day, and that very well could be. Somebody said it was a candle holder. I forget what that was. Anyway, I don't know what it was or where it came from. It kind of looked like a crafted item from the 80s. I don't know, but it's working out perfectly to hold my phone in a safe spot while I'm out in the workshop. And the other thing, that it works like a megaphone to kind of reverberate the sound back to me while I'm listening to podcasts. And you guys are crazy about murder podcasts just like I am. So we are all friends here. Let me mention, you see me in the hostas here in the back of my yard getting some of these leaves, and just a couple of days later there were 2 snakes. They were just garden snakes, so we don't have to worry about that. But they freaked me out so much I literally screamed, and my husband came over. He's like, "What?" I said, "There are snakes in the hostas." So he quickly took care of those snakes for me. I'm really enjoying the wind chimes that we did in that last video. They're just in the back, just barely making a sound. On a windier day, they're making better sounds, obviously, but this particular day, the wind was not really strong. But later in the day, like around 4 o'clock, we get some strong winds, and that wind chime is just a beautiful sound. All right, one last thing I wanted to mention about our recent video was that many people commented on the speed. I had about 50-50. Some people said it was too fast. Some people said that it was just fast enough and they appreciated that it didn't take too long. That particular video had over 3 hours of footage that I filmed, and I had to pare it down so that the video file was small enough that I could get the thing uploaded. And as it stood, that took about 6 or 8 hours to upload that 30-minute video. There's no way I could have uploaded a video longer than that in a reasonable amount of time. Unfortunately, that's just how it is with where we live out in the country, and I'm just trying to make the best of it. But I do appreciate everyone's input about the speed of the video, so thanks so much. To this soap. Now stick with me on this soap because I have a really fun freebie thing I want to offer you, and it kind of has to do with this soap. And anyway, you'll see here in a minute. This is actually the next day, and the soap sat overnight, and I was able to just pop it right out of these silicone molds. It's just, this is really such an easy project to do. I encourage you to give this a try. I ran to Walmart the night before and I grabbed this hemp cord. Now I'm going to link some down below, but I couldn't find this exact cord. But this was just some that I found over at my local Walmart. And I had a heck of a time getting it undone. You can see I just got frustrated and tore the project. Anyway, I'm just going to take that hemp cord and kind of wrap it around the bars of soap to make a little gift. You also see I ran my finger around the ridge on that top. It was a little bit of a sharp edge from the soap, so I just ran it around to smooth down that edge. I thought about putting 2 bars together, and that didn't work out so well, so I wound up doing just 1 bar of soap. But maybe you're better at tying this kind of thing together. I kind of stunk at it, to tell you the truth. But it turned out really cute, and I have a pretty little thing to add to the top. So hang tight, and I'm going to tell you all about that. Over on my blog at Reinvented Delaware, I have created a really fun freebie printable library just for you. And those tags are included. See that tag on the soap? It has a little bunch of flowers and a to and a from. And you can use those as gift tags. Like if you want to give this soap or any other little gift, you just print them out, cut them apart, and you have tags. I've also created some little greeting cards, and they are marked so that you will know which way to cut them. So when you print these off, they're going to come on the sheet of paper just like that. You'll use that mark and you'll just cut them in half. I'll link my paper cutter down below if you don't have one. They're really handy to have. Now, some of the cards have words like happy birthday, some are just blank, and they're all blank on the inside. But I created another little freebie for you. I have a whole sheet of things that you could write on the inside of the card to just greet your, whoever's receiving the card or the gift. The nice thing about doing it this way is that it's in your handwriting, but you don't have to think of the words. I've kind of taken care of that for you. But the recipient will get that in your handwriting. I don't know, that just gives it an extra special little touch. These cards fit in these envelopes. I'll link them down below as well. And boom, you have a nice little card to send to somebody. The neat thing about these is that these cards could be framed if you wanted to. So here they are. Here's a sampling of the cards and the gift tags. There's lots of other prints and designs. I didn't print them all off, but you see how the gift tags come. They're the ideas of what to write inside the card. And they're the stack of soaps, which is so much fun. Don't tell my sisters, but these are for my sisters and my mom. My little flowers. And then I have another thing to show you right there. See that? That is a project that's coming up soon with my printable library. That is a design from my printable library. Now let me tell you how to get to it. I'll link my site down below, reinventeddelaware.com. You click on the button in the top left corner and it's going to say get my freebies. You click on that. You give me your email address and I will give you access to the freebie library. Now it includes the gift tags, the cards, the printable art, and it also includes some really adorable phone wallpapers. But if you look in my last video with that scoop phone holder that we had, if you look at my phone, you're going to see one of those phone wallpapers on my phone. Just really the cutest little design. I've made lots of designs that are going to last from the spring through the summer, and the plan is for me to change these out seasonally. So when the fall comes, we'll have all the fall themed cards and gift tags and artwork and phone wallpapers, all that good stuff. And the same when the winter season comes and Christmas, we're just going to change out those designs seasonally. So be sure to sign up down below in the link that I have in the description so that you can get access to the freebie library. And stay tuned because I have other project ideas that are going to be connected with all the printable artwork that I have on my site. Do you hang laundry out on a clothesline? I do. Let me know down in the comments if you still do that. I still hang clothes out on the clothesline not when it's snowing or when it's raining or too cold, of course, but it's just a thing that I really do enjoy doing. And my clothespin bag is falling apart. It is literally holes and it's ripped and all of that. So I used a piece of this fabric that one of my followers sent to me. Her name is Karen, and she sent me all these scraps from her slipcover projects that she does. And she said, I know you're going to make something great. Well, I saw this gorgeous sage green kind of color, and I knew that I would use it as my clothespin bag. So I used my old clothespin bag to kind of make a little pattern, and you're going to see I made a little mishap, but that's okay, I fix it. And I just simply, stitched around the edge. This is a super easy little project. And here's a suggestion. If you have to make something like this, make a couple of them and give them as a gift, especially like for a spring or summer gift, because there are probably people in your life that like to hang out clothes, and they might like a new clothespin bag. So you can make these bags out of drop cloth. That would be super easy. Or the ticking fabric that I used in that chair upholstery video that I shared with y'all, that tutorial. So I'm going to link the ticking fabric down below. I don't have access to this specific piece of fabric, but the ticking would be so cute. I just would love to even make another one out of that. All right, so you saw my mishap. The piece that I cut did not curve around the top of that correctly. It was all wonky. So I had to cut a new piece so that it would lay flat, and I just did that. You see there, it's just another piece. Now what I'm going to do is just go around that curve, and I'm going to run a row of stitching around the curve, and then I'll clip to the line of stitching so that it will open up and I can fold it back and then make like a little hem allowance. And then after I do that, I'm going to stitch all the way around it. Assembling this thing is super easy. I don't have a pattern for it, so I'm sorry about that. Maybe I'll try to come up with a blog post so that I can get you a pattern for it. But you see here, I'm just stitching around that curve, and the little slits that I made make it so that I can fold that fabric down and it will lay down flat. Super easy. And I used a triple zigzag stitch to just hold it all down. I didn't feel like pulling my serger out, and the triple zigzag will hold it all nice and tight. Do you remember a couple videos back while I was working on that silver pitcher, I broke it? Well, the handle just fell off. Well, lo and behold, the same thing happened with this clothespin bag. The hanger that it came with just snapped. It was dry rotted. So I grabbed another heavy duty plastic coat hanger and I cut off the ends so that it would be about the same size and it would just fit, just inside that bag. And It worked out perfect. I got brand new clothespins on my Walmart pickup. I love getting new clothespins every spring. Well, not every spring, every few years I get new ones, and just filled it up, and I'm just ready to go and hang out my laundry. But before I get to the laundry, I'm going to check on my yogurt. So I make homemade yogurt, and I'm writing a blog post for how I make it. We make this every week. I make 2 batches. And this time I even made homemade butter. Oh my goodness, this was so much fun to make, so much fun to experiment. I've never done it before, and it turned out amazing. So let me know down in the comments, have you ever made butter, or have you ever made homemade yogurt? It's early in the morning, and it's time to put my white towels all out on the clothesline. So I've got them all loaded up in my little clothes basket. Do you notice what that clothes basket is? Go ahead and put your guesses down below. I love my little clothes basket. So it's still damp outside, and I'm going to use these little slip-on shoes of my husband's. Don't tell him, but I use these shoes all the time. And I had to roll my pant legs up because the grass is a little high and it's pretty wet out there. But I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm going to step out there and hang out these clothes and just enjoy a few minutes at the clothesline. It's time to get on with the rest of my day, so I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you like that clothespin bag, or if you've ever made anything like that, or the soap. Have you ever made homemade soap? Do you use the melt and pour kind, or do you make it from scratch with lye and all of the oils? Let me know down in the comments. I'm kind of interested in what you have to say about that. I hope you have a great day today. I really do appreciate all the encouraging words that you've given to me lately. And let's continue to do that. Let's just encourage one another in the comments. I said at the beginning of the video that sometimes I have a smoothie with that yogurt, but sometimes I just have the berries and the homemade Greek yogurt and walnuts. Oh, doesn't that look delicious?